pandemic and mental health taught me one thing, that I need to be part of the solution. If I can help one person, like affect them so they can lead a happier, healthier life, then it's all been worth it. Hello! Welcome to episode 4, Jukebox Jax podcast. Special guests tonight, Taxi For Pablo. So you can see there on your left, thumbs up, there he is. You got Franky and you got DC. Let's just, before we jump into the whole music conversation, let's just welfare check on you. How are you both doing? Obviously lockdowns and shit.
Tired. Sick of doing normal work.
Back at work doing normal work.
Normal work, yeah.
Knackered.
I hear that a lot from a lot of my friends, to be honest. They're all sort of like, because a lot of them were kind of like either furloughed and stuff like that, and they're all sat there at home, you know what I mean, having to sit around missus nagging or whatever else is going on, and then they're like, I can't wait to get back to work, and then they're going to work now and they're like, I'm actually knackered. Like,
right, I never left work. I kept going.
You were like me, you kept working throughout. Yeah,
I kept going. So that's been different.
Nah. So is DC doing heavy lifting then, Franks?
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, even though I got furloughed from my main job, I've also been doing a lot of work here at Jow as well. So just shipping out orders because it's been quite busy and what have you. And then we've had obviously a few guitar setups coming in and what have you. So if I'm in, I'll do them as well. And then just basically looking after the shop, pricing it up, and just.
I just come in and play everything.
It does, yeah. To be fair, we all come in.
You've been quite fortunate in that sense. I mean, obviously, we talk and stuff as you know what I mean as well. So you were going through the same struggles as everyone else. Was sort of like you sat in the house and stuff like that, but it was more of a positive thing that he's still able to just go into the studio and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I was going out for walks and stuff, like trying to get out every day, rain, shine, whatever. Just trying to keep my head clear and doing a lot of reading as well.
Oh, just nice to be home on a weekend night.
Christ, for as long as I've known you, he's always worked.
So sat there on a Friday night, like, so this is Friday night then.
This is what I kept saying to a lot of people. I was sort of like, for a long time, people, because they were working that much and stuff like that, and then obviously lockdowns came, and then it was sort of like what I'd give to have like a week or 2 weeks off, so I can just watch all my stuff that I need to watch. As soon as lockdowns happen, there's no on telly, nothing. Nothing at all.
You've been binge watched Tiger King and none of those Carol.
I'm sure I saw of a week there was someone on one. I don't know if it was like Facebook or something like that they're supposed to be doing a second season of it. I don't even know how that's going to happen.
We through do a documentary on it all week. I'm sure I saw something. I'm not sure. It was someone.
I were hooked on it, same as everyone else. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean it was good. Carol.
No,
Carol fucking Baskin.
I would just sat at home. You know, this lovely lady walks in, sits next to me. Apparently she's my wife. She seems quite nice. You know, it was just like being at home. You know, it's like, because usually like Friday, Saturday nights I'm at work.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I can't work, and I'm like, so what does everybody do? And she's like, well, basically go out. And I'm like, well, that's screwed then.
Can't do that. Can't go to rugby.
Can't go to rugby, yeah, can't go to rugby.
Yeah, because
can't practice.
It literally all just stopped, didn't it? Initially, like there were nothing, there were no rugby, there were no football, there were nothing on telly and stuff like that. I mean, it came back bit by bit, but yeah, it was strange time. It really was.
I remember being sat in town and you're looking in town and there's literally nobody.
It's like the apocalypse has happened.
Yeah, you're just waiting for tumbleweed.
Yeah, I literally, I like, I mean, I suppose I'm kind of getting better with it now, but I just resigned myself to living like a hermit. I just completely did. I'd go spend obviously time with kids and stuff like that, but then if I wasn't doing that or I wasn't working nights and stuff or doing my studying, I just stayed in. I'd find myself like trying, especially when the supermarkets kind of relaxed a little bit and then they went back to the kind of 24 hours like your Asda's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even now, I won't go through day. I'll just go middle of the night so I don't have to deal with anyone. Headphones in, mask on. Usually some drunk down an aisle dropping beer everywhere.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit like you, DC, actually. Not sure if it was you.
I don't drink, mate.
Hang on a minute.
Fuck you right now in front of this camera. Off.
So yeah, it's the same obviously with what we're all living with at minute with COVID and stuff like that. There's no way of not addressing it. So we always get it out of the way first, and then we actually crack on with stuff. So for people that either may or may not have heard of Taxi for Pablo, just give us a rundown, like a background, how you came together, and
right, here we go.
Many moons ago.
Back in day.
Back in
day.
Aye, gonna get them teas in. We're from Yorkshire. We'll put teas anywhere.
Put teas anywhere.
Yeah. Put wood in tile.
About what? 7, 8.
Well, originally when we got together.
Yeah.
2009.
Oh God, was that?
2009. Wow. That's when
we're old.
When Mark won Taxi for Pablo. Got together.
2009.
2009, and then I think we carried on till 2013.
13, and then
I just lost interest in it.
We all kind of went different ways.
Yeah. I mean, that was the start of things in my life, turning upside down. So, I mean, we still talk.
We still talk.
I've known Justin as drummer for 24 years ish. Since school, so we've always got along, and we've known each other for about 12 years.
About 12 years.
About 12 years. So that happened. Then one faithful night in the Horse Vaults of all places, because I can still remember it. I think it was a week before my birthday. But Friday night, was it? I think it might have been a Friday night, because I was out with Matt. I was out with Matt. Consequently, we'd been to rugby and we'd won. So in there, phone goes off. Steve, old lead singer. Oh, do you want to get band back together? And I literally went, first words out of my mouth were, if Daz and Jay are interested, then yeah. So for a couple of weeks, we started getting dialogue.
Yeah, started,
and then
to and fro a little bit.
Then we got back together. And then Diamond Studios, we ended up there.
Yeah.
Of all places. And subsequent from 2018 to now. Well, to October last year.
Yeah.
Let's just cover that in.
Yeah, we'll throw that in.
Let's cover that, because obviously I know that guy's hit you quite hard.
It was 003 because they practiced next door to us.
Yeah,
awesome.
Was devastating.
I can still remember Dave the week, because we went in twice to clear it room out. Justin's got that much stuff.
Yeah, Justin. He's got all the
Jay's drum emporium. If you see it cropping up, don't be surprised. By the way, he's just bought another snare drum as well.
Oh God.
Yeah, orange acrylic pot pie snare drum. He sent me the picture, and he said it wasn't quite as deep as the one he bought off drummer from Twin Atlantic. Which consequently is our colourway as well.
Well, yeah, true.
Took us 2 of us to gut that room out.
You don't realise how much gear you've got until you've got to shift it.
Yeah, and it was heart wrenching, wasn't it?
Horrible.
So it was a long old drive back from Diamond straight up to New Lock up in Nottingham.
Very quiet, very
somber,
very surreal. I mean, even to the point where you stood at the door and you're looking into the room and there's nothing there, but you can still see everything there where it should be.
Yeah, your heart drops, tears form in your eyes, and it was just like
that were an hard moment.
Well, there's so many memories that go along with things like that. Obviously.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, similar to what Jow is for us now. I mean, that's been a clubhouse environment. that was our clubhouse. No
Yeah.
matter how we were feeling, good, shit, whatever.
But don't matter. As soon as you walk through that door,
You had some form of release. We'll go in, probably blast through. We've got nothing. Barely hatch it. Do I don't want to know about Husky Do, which we do very bloody well. I hasten to add.
We don't do that on
and then usually 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we'll go outside, have a fag,
and then come down and come back in, screw about for a bit more.
Yeah. Fly back seat of his pants, try and come up with something.
Well, it's usually at that point where we're having a big dick about, and it's like, hold on, that sounds
a bit
nice. Hold on, do that again.
Do what?
And it's literally that bit there. What that bit there?
That bit. Oh,
no, the bit before that.
Oh, now you've pointed to it 6 times. I know what you mean. Yeah, that bit there.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
It's like fucking D chord.
I'm because he'll play something. I'm like,
this is how it usually starts.
Then I sit in the corner, a big notepad, dribbling away, and it's like, right, do it again.
That's how nearly all ours come apart.
Yeah.
Apart from Bury the Hatchet, which I had the full arrangement.
You had all that.
Yeah,
but everything else.
The only bit that changed in that was the octave solo.
That's how we did it. That is how we do it.
Classic Case Kings.
Yeah.
And Cinderella.
Is that like, I don't know, have you noticed if it's changed? Like some of the lads who I know, musicians and stuff, that not all of them, don't get me wrong, it's usually the songwriter that usually gives me sort of like the conversation that I'm after in that sense. And he's sort of like, yeah, no, I've found myself like writing things that I never thought I'd write just because my mind was somewhere else completely during lockdowns and stuff.
There's been a lot of different writing. I've got bits of paper everywhere, little line, 2 line, 3 lines on my phone.
You don't want to see how many lyrics, chord progressions are in there.
And you find, because you've got that different view now, but then, especially during the main lockdown, you had the time.
Yeah.
And it weren't just oh yeah, that'll do, that'll fit, and oh yeah, that'll go. And you sat there thinking, well, you know how you feel, you know how slow things are, and you kind of work it all in.
I suppose there's that other side to it as well, as like if you followed the normal process that you would have normally followed, because you were kind of like at times, because like you say, you've got so much time on your hands during lockdowns, you're kind of over-analysing your songwriting and creating, the different sort of like the intros to songs and things like that. So if you'd have already gone down the other normal route that you would be songwriting normally, you might have written 3 other completely different sorts of songs.
Yeah, you find yourself that you kind of, instead of going down that road that you know where you're going, you kind of veering off every now and again. It's like,
do you want to do Neil Young bit?
And it's like you're veering off. It's like, oh, hold on, this is new.
See, I always end up stuck in equivalent of a roundabout. Me, that's where I always end up. Just going round and round and round.
We've been there.
I will play the same chord progressions over and over again. I'm thinking, right, I'm really getting bored of this.
Really don't want to do it.
I don't want to go that again. So right, so that's when lockdown. I made a conscious effort. Going right. That's it. I'm going to sort of wipe the slate clean. Start watching a lot more stuff on YouTube, how to like learn different keys of songs, which chords come in which key, and just try and change it up for me, just to make it more interesting. And then also I went back to school. I started relearning all shit I learned back in May. So there's been like old therapy stuff, really old Foo Fighters ones as well, first couple of albums, just stuff like that. Okay, Thin Lizzy, U2. I've been relearning a load of stuff like that as well, and old Stereophonics ones, and not to mention some old Mannix ones, obviously. Obviously,
I
it had to be.
mean, it's going to sound completely weird when I say it, but I'm sure you two will understand where I'm coming from with it. You've got so many, bands, musicians that have just fallen at wayside because of COVID, because of lockdowns. But then you've got so many of them same sort of people that are actually, they've upped the ante, just like you were saying there, Frankie. Like you've gone back into yourself, and you whereas you wouldn't have normally at that time, you'd have just been going through the same grind day to day, just doing the same thing. So there is that. I suppose it's a catch-22, and there's so many like sad stories of people that's just they've lost the business and things like that, they've lost studios. But then you've also got advantages for those people that are still kind of like, well, do you know what? It does suck. We now don't have anywhere. But at the end of the day, I've still got an instrument in front of me. I've still got the willingness to actually do something and be creative. So I'm going to push through. And it's those people with that drive that I think they're gonna see the rewards of it once we come through it. But I mean,
I think once we get out of this, it's not going to take us long to get into the swing of it.
No, I mean, last time we were together as a proper band were October.
Beginning of October.
November. But I can put my hand on my heart now and say we could go into a room and 5 minutes later, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We'd be able to blast through our short set.
We'll be able to go through the set.
Few mistakes, and then we'll just go, right, 10 minutes.
Do it again, and it'll be just about nailed.
Yeah.
So I quite happily say that.
That just shows you how many times we've played these bloody songs.
Now, it's just interesting there that you're talking about things like that. One of my friends mentioned it over there when we were having similar conversations, and he sends me random stuff all the time, just like fantasy stuff. And he just sort of like, it will be interesting to get you, because I'd said that obviously you guys were coming on, and I've got other bands coming on further down, and it was sort of like, it'd be interesting if you could ask the bands or singers when they're coming on, not that there's anything wrong with the band lineup that they've got, but if you could choose just one musician, it could be vocalists, you know what I mean, any instrument, only one musician to literally accompany you while you're out on tour and stuff, just as a bonus. If you could only choose one, who would it be?
Famous or not?
Oh
yeah, famous musician, yeah.
Famous.
So you go. In fact, you go first, Frank.
I mean, I know the obvious one.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I don't know.
See, I'd be more inclined to say, right, let's get, I don't know, James Dean Bradfield. But but yeah, I mean, I'd say James Dean Bradfield, not just because he's my big guitar hero, and just, they say don't meet your heroes, but yeah, 2008 Leeds Fest on Sunday, about 3 hours before they played, that was so far from the truth, it was unbelievable. And the guy's got a really crushing handshake as well. I'm just going to throw that out there. Literally crushed my hand. It's like, what? And then I had a big Barney, and it was like ex-girlfriend at the time, and it was like, oh, I want to go see Kills. Crack on, I love to see Mannix. That's the reason why I'm here. Sorry, I'll go James.
Go on, DC. What about you?
I think for me, I would love to sing with Corey Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We do a couple of third glass.
We've talked about doing a few more by Stumps Hour.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and apparently when I sing it, these guys are like, really? Really?
Bear in mind, I know exactly when, and it were in this room, he more or less started singing, because I blew my voice out, but we'll go into that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So, I'd like Corey to come out. That would be.
Good shout.
Oh God, could you imagine that, James Dean Bradfield and Corey Taylor? God, Corey don't drink anymore, but James does.
Yeah.
I could throw in another one for you, the one that my mate said, and it blew my mind, because I was just sort of like, my God, it's such genius, but it also could unravel any band. Joe Walsh, Eagles.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen the
Wow.
Have you seen the Brian Johnson meets episode?
Yes.
The Brian Johnson's going, where is he? Where is he? And he's like that in boots. That's classic Joe Walsh.
Oh
The
God,
guy's an
Joe
animal.
Walsh. He's just
But he's
Wow.
such an awesome.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I totally. I'm glad that you said it like that. Like I've always kind of struggled to try and sum him up. Like I can just sit and watch him for hours. It's not just it's not just his technicality and his ability. It's his whole like psychological presence when he's there.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he's there on stage, he's not actually there. You can see it, and he's somewhere else.
yeah.
He's in space or somewhere. Like he's transcended and gone. Well, it's probably to do with a lot of the like cups of tea that he's had. Shall we say?
Have you heard like
Yeah.
a fast line? Just throw that in there.
So,
But yeah, that's a riff.
yeah. I mean, the guy's just.
I mean, James Gang, what
He's,
a band.
Yeah,
he's next level. He really. I mean, it's like you say. He's taken that performing side, and it's just somewhere else now. He's just.
And you always find them special individuals within not just music industry but everywhere where they don't fully appreciate their own talent. Like they don't value themselves. They don't grade themselves.
They kind of underplay it, don't they? They kind of just play it down. And
and don't get me wrong, you get some of them individuals where you can tell that they're playing it down, but you can see with smirk on their face that they think that they're like the dog's bollocks. But then, like you say, you have got them individuals just like Joe, where it's sort of like he actually doesn't rate himself. Like when obviously one of the most iconic songs that he sang, he literally he was adamant. If you make me sing this, I'm leaving band. and it just turned out to be what it was.
Yeah.
Those people that aren't aware of what we're talking about, we're on about Rocky Mountain Way. Like just
Funk Song 49, that's probably my favourite. And then was the other one. Can't remember it. There's that one.
It's just rare, isn't it, at times? I mean, you'll both understand this as obviously singers yourselves as well as obviously playing, but it's hard to find an individual that's kind of got that complete package in that sense where they can do. But then I suppose that kind of leads us on because I'm curious about what you were referring to about when you blew your voice out.
I had really, really bad flu in 2018. It was December we recorded it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was gnarly weather, and I had really bad flu. And to be fair, I was nailing it when we were practicing. And then literally 2 weeks before we come to record, I'm like, and I think I ran through it 4 times. I went, Daz, you fancy a crack? 2-take wonder of it. That were it. Lead singer at band from that night onwards. I'll stick to doing backing vocals.
And I think we need a front man. We need someone to sing for the band. And I guess a phone call. And he's like, I found somebody. Oh, great! Yes. Oh, we went you.
Who me? Me? Really?
No. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. He said, you wrote the songs. You know the songs.
Do it.
Just do it. And I'm like,
okay. There's so many bands that's been like that though over time, isn't there? Where the singer that they ended up obviously going with wasn't the original choice, but I suppose it's just those collective collaborations, isn't it? When you're together, you're in studio, it might work. You know, a certain song, you might be DC, you might be on backing vocals as such, but then the other song, you've got the stronger point for and. There's so
I've got one of those songs, haven't we? New Key Summer, which is a song I wrote. So I want to sing that, obviously, because Cornwall's my favourite place on earth in Northampton. So I want to do that, and then
he wants his 5 seconds.
I want the 5 seconds. then Baz wants to do the lead part on it.
He can.
There is that struggle and battle though as well, if we're being honest as well, when you have gone down avenue where you've wrote the song from the ground up. And obviously you're teaching it to your fellow band members. Not a lot. Some of them are complete assholes, and they'll just come out and say it, and they'll be like, "You're not singing it right. That's not how I heard it in my head when I wrote it, and it's not how I want it sang." But then you've got the other people that sort of like it takes a whole new life when they do kind of pass it over in that sense, and they're sort of like this.
Do I say it?
Yeah.
Kings. Well, so somebody told me that the words I wrote didn't fit, and I'm like, yeah, they do.
I know it's not this one.
Yes, yeah, they do.
So
No, they don't. Yeah, they do.
So
I'll
we
show
give
you.
it. So we give it benefit of the doubt. Let him do it his way, and there's what it don't fit, and I'm going, yeah, it does. It does. It does. Kaz, show him.
Yep.
And then the other classic night where we absolutely weirded ourselves out.
Oh God.
So here we go. So it were me, you. It were only us three, and me, you, and Jay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So one night, as bass player at the time and Steve, as lead singer at the time, didn't turn up, and I think that happened for about 3 weeks in a row, didn't it? So we were just messing about. We blasted through a few covers, done. We're not even done Hatchet at that point because he had a massive do about that and didn't like it. I'm like, it's a beast of a song. It's there. It's ready to go.
And then we started. Playing around.
I think I were noodling around trying to come up with a solo for Hatchet, and then
you had about 43 pedals on at the same time. That's what caused it.
Well, basically, I just did the Billy Duffy thing and just turning it all on.
You just turned everything on. If you look down at his feet, there was lights, and I'm like,
I just didn't have a violin, but
yeah, you were reminiscent of Michael Flatley with leg movement.
If you ever see us live, mate, it's exactly like that.
If you imagine a tap dancing octopus.
That's it. And a swinging Les Paul.
Swinging Les Paul.
Just,
but yeah, that was it. Yeah,
that were it.
And then we come up with this riff idea, and it just completely blew us away. And we still haven't used it.
I think we're just at that point where it's just like, there's us, and we're not the same band as what we were then. I'm thinking, there's that. We've scared ourselves early on.
Yeah, and there's things like what we were saying earlier and stuff. Obviously, the lockdown, the creative. What's the word I'm looking for? I suppose the creative journey, but like you were saying, where you've gone back in on yourself, you've gone back and taught yourself stuff, and it's same with obviously with songwriting and everything else, that those sort of things help you then as we're coming into the other touchy subject of the music industry as it is at the minute. Yeah. Where do we even begin to try and rebuild? Because there's no point saying anything other than rebuild, because that's how it's going to have to be from so many venues out there that's closed where you would have been gigging.
It's going to be a slow process. You can't go all
it's been completely disassembled. There is literally, we've got the foundations and that's about it. And we're in some places we're lucky if we've got them.
Yeah, and there is that as well. Like you say, you're fortunate in that sense that if you do find some places, there's so many people that are just giving it up now because there isn't anything, and it's like, well, and it's awful. You can hear pain in the voice in a sense when they say it. They're like, "What's point? Just what's point?"
Yeah, there's so many awesome bands that have just called it quits. And it's sad.
But it's always kind of mystified me that when the big names come along and they're doing a tour or whatever, and people go flocking there, and they'll pay £200, £300, £400, £500 for a ticket,
and you'll be sat up in nosebleeds as well.
Your little local bands are playing on a Friday, Saturday night
for a fiver
of nothing.
Yep.
And there'll be nobody there.
Yeah.
And really?
And they might be like your next favourite band. And I've seen so many awesome bands like that. First time I ever saw the Idol Dead. Walking through Leeds, 2011, Milo's, and I've been shopping, had a few beers, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not ready to go home. A friend of mine who were with decided to go home, and I thought, right, you know what? I'm going to go to Milo's, this noise, get up there, and I've been a fan ever since. And what an absolute gem of a band.
How you pretty much said it then. It's hit nail on the head, both is how you said it. And that's something that like my friend circle, we're very fortunate because we're all like-minded, and you know people I'm talking about like Gian, Bean, Smeg.
Yeah.
We're just like you two. We're all about, like, don't get me wrong, we all love going and watching, you know, as big bands that we've idolized as we've like been growing up and stuff like that. But we get just as much enjoyment out of just going to a gig. The way it's some, you know, 3 bands that's on that we've never heard before.
Yeah.
And there might be 12 people in bar, and 50% of them are old guys that are just propping up bar normally anyway. Yeah. But it's all about getting out, and I think it comes from that true love of music that you just love listening to music, learning new bands, finding other potential types of music genres that you wouldn't have necessarily liked a few years ago. I mean, music in so many ways. I've spoke about it on different episodes before. Like, it's always been the same since I was younger. I struggled more so when I was younger to kind of articulate whatever I was thinking. But if I heard a song, the lyrics straight away, that it were like, oh, whoever wrote it, and it's like, how did this band I'm listening to, how did they write this 20 years before I was even born? But it's like they wrote it for me. Like they're perfectly explaining what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of people, and it does, people don't see the correlation, but that at times, from me speaking to different people, that ties in with mental health as well, because a lot of people struggle to talk about how they're feeling. And we're not just talking like guys, because obviously that's the main thing that's in media at the minute, that, you know, guys need to learn to talk more, they need to express how they're feeling, especially to their friends and family. But it's across board, women as well, children. Obviously, I've got kids myself, like they've struggled throughout, but you speak to a lot of people and they all say the same thing, that music kind of gets them through it. It got them through, you know, sticking radio on at home while they're doing, you know, they're helping to teach the kids with online lessons and stuff. They're having dinner, they're putting radio on, they're going garden and stuff like that. It's that common denominator of music. And if that ever went, which is what I'm kind of petrified in a sense of, like, unless something major. I mean, we were talking about it before we went on air. Like, it's my ideology behind it is that I think music labels need to be doing more to invest. And I explained it to you, like, obviously the football analogy, because when I was a kid, that's what I was, football. But it's like you invest in grassroots. You know, you want to put the best facilities available for your kids. They grow up loving the sport. They come back full circle, self-fulfilling prophecy. But you just don't have that. And this would be a perfect time. And no one's saying music labels should do that ordinarily. No one's saying that at all.
You should start at council level, government level, really.
But this is, I'm going to say, because you're talking about, like, you've got like the lottery fund that they were doing for a lot of like the grassroots footballs and stuff. I mean, you're talking about there taking who they're identifying as skilled, you know, children, youths who are quite skillful in what they're doing. It's a skill to be a musician.
Yeah.
And there's never been that emphasis on it. And maybe that's why we have got now to the point of where we've had a pandemic, loads of places are closing. And I suppose, because I've never seen musicians in the same categories as the arts. Like, I don't like when musicians are categorized in the arts, because I was watching a documentary during, I think it was the first or second lockdown, and they were saying, in fact, were it Damon? I think it was Damon Albarn who were on it. On one at Sky Channels, and he was saying things like, because I was blessed to have an ability to be a musician, I'm unfortunately categorized within the arts. The arts is known as being quite a privileged. So then when people are saying, oh, you know, I'm not able to go out and gig, I'm not able to go to venues and sell out stadiums and stuff like that, they've got no sympathy because, well, you're quite fortunate because it's not a real job. It's not this.
Yeah,
it's not that.
that's the thing. It's not you're not making something. You're not producing something. You are, but it's not physical.
Yeah,
materialistic.
Audible.
You're not making a watch. You're not making a car. But what you are making is
it's just something else.
It's bigger than that.
You're making a feeling.
Yeah, because
if you can put words together, put music together that will strike a chord with somebody, even if it's just one person. If it's just that one person, and I had it, didn't I? Key Club.
We all had it at Key Club. Yeah.
And yeah.
God, I love Key Club. I miss it.
Yeah.
But no, sorry.
We were playing, and there was one person there. We're playing one of our songs, and we got to verse 2.
Second verse, and I looked over at you, and then I looked
verse 2, and there's this young lass straight in front of me, looking up, singing. And she's singing my words. And that was the first time I had that moment.
Yeah. Because
like, hold on.
Without things like that, and this is what we're all saying with it, that it is just as important as anything else.
Of course it is, yeah.
Because if you didn't have music, just weddings, no first dance.
Yeah.
No song that reminds you of, a dead relative, a funeral.
Yeah.
None of that. You'd have none of it because, and unless something's done now moving forward with music labels or some sort of cash injection just to get things through what's going off, because it's happening in other industries.
If we get that ball rolling, even if it's just slightly, if we get it rolling, will pick up speed.
And that's because you've got, like you said, people like yourselves, other musicians that are still there, they're still willing to get out there to play music for people, because people are crying out to go to gigs.
It worries me because I want to know where the next generation of kids are they haven't got a clue out. They don't know one end of the guitar from the other. They don't know how to play it, but they will get together with the mates in a garage, close the door, and make noise.
It's how most of the big bands did it. So why can't it happen again?
If you're watching this, if anybody's watching this, and you're there with your mates, and if you just do it, please do it.
Just play. It's as simple as that.
What's the worst that can happen? You get it wrong.
Yeah.
If you get it
start
wrong
again,
and if you get it wrong,
you start again, and sooner or later, out of all them wrongs, you'll get it right, and it will feel fantastic.
We've had that moment more times than I can remember.
And do you know, like, obviously, as a parent, obviously, teenage son, like he'd spent obviously, I'm separated from their mum, but we share custody. And he got bought a guitar years ago, and he'd always say to me, "Oh, can you teach me some stuff?" I tried when he was younger and stuff, and from his fingers and stuff like it just wasn't happening for him. And I'm not one of them ones where I'm gonna, because that's what I like, I'm not gonna force him into it. He's got to go there himself. And then now he's kind of come back, but like literally as a parent, my eyes went, my jaw went, everything. I got right emotional because I spent 5 minutes as the age that he's at now. I spent 5 minutes with him teaching him brain stew. And I didn't put anything on him. Like, no, I was sort of like, you just do this. And I just kind of left him, went sort of stuff in kitchen. I got headphones on because we all know what it's like when you got the Green Day going on at guitar. And I'm like, I'm all right giving that to a younger version of me. I'm like, it's not happening. I'm like,
Yes.
get these headphones plugged into that amp. It's not happening.
No.
And then I came back.
Do that to him.
It with the look on it, just the look on his face, the sheer joy, like, yeah, he were excited and stuff that he were playing to it, but it was also the amazement in his own ability that he were kind of, I can't believe that I've just played like an intro to a song of a band that my dad loves, but have sold millions and millions of records, and it didn't even take me long to learn it. All I needed to do was just listen to what he was showing.
That's the thing, because the kids now, they'll look at guitar, and if it's not got a keyboard on it, or it's like, oh, what do and you don't need to know every chord in the book.
No.
You don't need, and I've had some of my son, and I'm trying to show him, and I've told her, I said, look, if you really want to, you can just use 2 fingers, and if you know where to put them, you're away.
Case in point, bury the hatchet.
Yeah,
2 fingers, 2 chords.
that's all it is.
And as we know, there's so many bands out there. Quo. There's so many bands that made a career out of doing stuff like that. And if you can tailor that to the younger generation and just be sort of like, look, it's this easy. Don't think it's hard. Don't go into it listening to what your friend said of, oh, I've tried, my fingers are, and it's not happening. I'm not doing it. And it's like, just push, because what's the other alternative? You're just going to allow those negative feelings to just breed and stuff. And it's like, if you're not going to do it, it's not going to make you feel any better.
Stop. That's it.
Yeah. And then your progression stops, and then before you know it, you're selling the guitar, and then we all know, less than 2 years later, you're wanting to buy another guitar again.
Well, I know with me, I started to learn at school, and I put my guitar down at 16. I didn't pick it up for 20 years, till 20 years later, and now look at you. now we've got a song on iTunes and Spotify, and
and
there's people out there buying it, and it's like, hold on.
There's that as well. Obviously, we do talk about music industry, and we talk about, obviously, we were talking earlier about your creative processes and stuff like that. Technology is a massive aid to any budding musicians coming up now compared to before. Like, you don't need to be signed to a label to release your own music. I you know what I mean? If I were to do this, what I'm doing now, all in aid of mental health awareness, raising money for charities and stuff. If I were to try and do this 10 years ago, I'd need an agent. There'd be so many people and getting involved and stuff. Whereas, like, and as we all know, kids nowadays on the phones, the more clued up with technology than we are. We need to be pushing them to use the technology for things like this.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there is, unfortunately, but then you've got people like Jake Paul and that don't help matters. But but you get what I mean with it. You're always going to get some bad seeds like that are just exploiting the whole system that's there to create opportunities for them.
Go back to what we said about technology. Is it a hindrance or is it help? It's a help to us, but
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a double-edged sword. It all depends on how you use it.
That translates through to everything in everyday life, I believe, because I've had conversations with Frankie before, with the rest of my friends. It's people go on a lot about social media. About social media is bad. You need to get rid of it. Like, you've got cyberbullying. Yeah, you have got all them things, and I can't stand things like that. But there's so many things like this that you're able to do good things.
Yeah,
you're able to. I've got inbox messages just with the short amount of time that we've had this thing going. I've got inbox messages from people who have literally listened to an episode or they've seen a post and something just clicked in their head and it's made them divert away from the dark path and the things they were planning on doing, all because that I just took time out just to kind of share some things. And I wouldn't be able to do that without technology. So as our social media, so I wouldn't
Well, the thing is, I mean, yeah, the cyberbullying and everything like that, but if you took the whole social media bit away, then it would just be bullying on the streets.
Of course it would, because it existed before, didn't it? And this,
every age group thinks it's something new.
yes,
and it's not.
The story is old as time.
It's not. I've had it. He's had it. You've probably had it.
I had it really bad at school.
Yeah.
You know, we've all had it, and I think
it's because it's the day and age that we're living in now. Everything's more accessible, and by that I mean media outlets, news. You hear about everything because you can't hide away from everything. So because you hear about it more, you naturally think, oh, like if I were to go on and research some statistics on, you know what I mean, on murders and things like that, murder rates aren't in correlation to, the populations are increasing and things like that. But it's not because more people are angry and going out and killing people. It's just because more of it's been brought to light.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's the same with them cases. I'm just one of them people where I think if you've got the tools to do good, but you've got people that are using it for bad, you shouldn't take the tools away for those people that are doing it good. You should deal with those individuals that are using it for bad and doing bad things. We don't spoil it for everybody else. I think that's how it needs to be with technology, because there's so many great things that can come from it. Things like this, things like even in lockdowns, how many gigs did we all watch? Live streams?
Yeah,
quite a few.
Yeah.
Roxy Asylum probably my favourite. Although I did see the new Wild Arts one from the other week. Oh boy. Oh.
I mean, the thing is, it's like you said throughout all the lockdown, we all can't go see each other, but we're all together.
Yeah, you've got situations, care homes. You've got elderly patients in care homes couldn't see the family members, but the nursing staff were literally ringing and FaceTiming the sons, the daughters, that have got their own grown-up families, and giving the phone to like the mum, so they could still have that face-to-face contact. All that's gone without technology.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look 20, 25 years ago, there'd be none of that. It wouldn't have existed. So it's like I said,
it's sad.
If these kids can get together and just don't matter what the mates say, don't matter, rock band, no.
It's like, we're into rap and hip hop.
Rap, and it's like,
I'm not just picking out two genres there, but that's
it's right, isn't it? Like there were a lass on news yesterday, and she was saying how she'd been getting picked on because she liked to sing jazz. I think it was BBC or something like that. She likes to sing jazz, and she was like 12-year-old, and now she's 15. She's signed to a music label, and now all these people that were bullying her want to be her best friend.
Yeah.
Then it was like us at school. I mean, we were the outcasts, so we were listening to God knows what. I mean, I
always wanted to be the outcast, though.
We didn't sort of fit in, so we were all listening to like Therapy, reading Krang, just listening to Korn, Slipknot. Were just
I mean, I was what do you call it? Everybody were like, oh, he's run DMC, and I'm like, I'll stick with you now,
It's one of them things, isn't it? I think everybody can appreciate every sort of genre of music. I mean, as much as I love my favourite sorts, people like Elvis, things like that, James Dean, Rat Pack, I love sticking a bit of that on. It's not my favourite stuff, but I can listen to out. I think it was other day I'd forgot my cable while I were out driving with work. Forgot my cable for my phone, so I couldn't have like Spotify on and stuff. And there were no I was flicking through stations, and it didn't even have DAB. It's that rubbish. Is that work van? Didn't have DAB. So I'm scanning through, and it was just a random channel. I ended up sat there listening to bloody Cars. the cars, not heard them for time, stuff like that. It's just like
Sunday afternoons at my grand's.
I can literally.
Oh God, yeah.
I can listen to anything, and I think it's sad at times when you have got them people where they're kind of like, oh no, I'm not listening to that. Or I just think it's me personally. I just think that's the wrong. It's the same thing with everything when it comes to like it's wrong mentality.
You don't want to pigeonhole yourself.
I mean, right? If they're not going to listen to it, don't listen to it, but at least appreciate it.
Yeah. Just because they don't like it, and they're sort of like, no, don't listen to it.
It's not in the in crowd. No, can't do that because so-and-so don't like it. No.
You start doing that, then you start going down a real slippery slope.
And there's a lot of kids now, and they all look the same. There's no individuals anymore.
That's it, and that touches on what Frankie were on about a minute ago about the whole. You were seen as you know what I mean, the reject, the oddball, in you know what I mean, you didn't fit in with, and it's like because you had individuality and you liked what you liked.
Yeah. My mate Gav Pattinson said that to me. Oh God, must have been 12, 13-year-old, and I was listening to Nirvana. I mean, Money Banks of the Whiskey. What a live album. Listening to that. Manic's first Stereophonics album. Travis. Whatever album listening to at the time. And Gav, just God bless him. It nailed it anyway. Frankie, you like what you like, and you know what, I've always stuck by it. I like it, I listen to it. Don't matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, and that's it. And you know as well as I do, probably DC same. Like you could name drop someone that you like, and then you'll be stood near someone and they'll be like, they're kind of looking you up and down like, I wouldn't have thought he's into that. And it's like, what does that even mean? You don't know me. You just typecasting me like what?
Yeah.
No.
I expected to look a certain way and dress a certain. I mean, it's going back to the old. Oh, he's got tattoos. He must be a wrong, you know. And
yeah. Do you know what?
I've got rockers on.
There were a few people when I first told them, obviously in the first lockdown, that I decided I'm gonna get off my ass and I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna help people. So I'm gonna go down path of obviously my mental health nursing degree. And there were a few people that literally they were sort of like, well, that there. They were sort of like, oh, I don't think that you'd be able to get into a nursing profession. I'm like, why is that? Bearing in mind, that disclaimer, I would say that these people don't know me right well. They know me through people. So these comments are coming back through me, like my close friends that were sort of like, oh, so and so who works in healthcare setting. She's like, oh, she don't think that you'd really sort of belong there. I'm like, she don't know anything about me. She doesn't know my nature and the fact that people around me who work in the profession have been saying to me for years that I need to be working in that profession because it's a crying shame if I'm not. And it don't matter if you're covered in tattoos. I know a couple of lads, one of which now is a surgeon. He's got full sleeves. He's got his fingers done because he's a biker. He's got neck tattoos coming up. I don't know, one of them patients that won't say, please don't remove my cancerous tumor because you've got tattoos.
Yeah. And it's all that typecasting again, isn't it? It's like, oh, hold on. And I just don't get it.
Typecasting and labeling. I think that's you're right what you're saying there, DC. It's a case of, I think the main problem that likes of you, me, people have with that situation is because we wouldn't judge other people. We expect other people not to then judge. But sadly, people aren't like that.
It's not a two-way street.
And it's I openly say to those people, I mean you no harm. I wish you loads of happiness in your life, but I don't really want to have contact with you because we're not going to have any conversation to have because we're not like-minded. I don't understand your thought process. I just don't get it. You know, live your life, be happy, but I don't really kind of need that sort of negativity around me. It provides nothing but upset. You don't get any positives out of having that sort of attitude. It sucks. But on a brighter note, what's if we can even announce out, I'm not too sure, but what's coming up for Taxi for Pablo for anybody that's obviously listening and that's wanting to check you guys out? Or by the way, before we jump onto that, I've just realised I've gone an entire episode and just assumed all my normal regular listeners are going to be listening, but there wouldn't be any new ones. Obviously, you're going to have the lower thirds coming up on the screen. Obviously, this podcast is available on, you can watch it on YouTube, you can listen to it on Spotify. So you will have lower thirds advertisements coming out. But
YouTube.
Yes.
Made it.
Yep, they've made it to YouTube.
Sorry, took it all.
But for those people that are driving in the car, whatever, not had a chance to actually watch it and they're just listening, click the more information on the actual episode tab on Spotify, not just Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you're listening to your podcast. Click the links there because I'll be hyperlink all the social medias for Taxi for Pablo, so you can check them out, check the content, follow them and stuff. But yeah, go for it, guys. Anything that you've got lined up? Pipeline, obviously, because we're not quite out of restrictions and we're waiting. But
the main thing for us is going to be all getting into a room again.
Getting together as a band again.
Going back to the Losters practice room in October. So that was the clubhouse environment gone. We haven't had that since.
If we can get back at, I mean, I know we've got some stuff that was ready for recording.
I actually, side note, on my music player on my laptop, I actually found. Well, you've got the master.
I've got the master.
I've got the semi-mastered rough version of our next single.
So, but I think we're gonna go back and do some recording, and hopefully. All being well, towards back end of the year, we should have a couple of bits out.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, one definitely we're wanting to put out with the second song we recorded the same night as in here, right where we are. I'm probably not far away from where I was.
I was over there somewhere.
And then Justin will come down here.
Yeah, throwing stuff at us. That's perfect.
As usual. Jumpers about. But yeah, we recorded 2 songs in one night in here. Obviously Bury the Hatchet, which ended up being a single. Still weird.
And
then King of LIC.
Yeah, Kings. So we're hoping to get them done again and get them out.
Plus the other 2 that we've got ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, the one that we really, really like, again, happened in Diamond. It were one of those shit moments, and I'm there playing away, blah blah blah, and I make a mistake as I usually do, and I went down to G down here instead of there, and Daz just went.
My ears pricked up.
What was that? You can do that again.
Again.
Continue.
No, just keep doing it.
Yeah, just do it again.
So we had the chorus.
We had the chorus.
You wrote the verse that night, though, didn't you? I think you wrote the verse that night, but we didn't have the beginning part of the song.
Yeah, that's right.
So that happened. We practiced twice that week, from what I remember. So Wednesday and Thursday. So Wednesday night we went in, did that. Thursday morning, or mid-Thursday afternoon, I probably sat behind where my laptop is now, behind the counter, with the guitar in hand, just aimlessly messing about. And I've probably been listening to a lot of early Stereophonics, Gaslight Anthem, whatever. And then it began. And then it began. So it went from F to C to E minor to D. And I'm thinking, and then rung Daz and like, I've just had that moment. I think I've just got first. Brought it in the next night. It lined up perfectly.
And then I believe I literally wrote it there and then, didn't
you? You wrote it there and then. And then we decided how many times to loop the first part of it. Which
it would just do the timings then. And it just kind of, once we kind of pieced it all together, So right, here we go. Right, let's go for it. We went through it, and we all just sat down, and
then the week after that, we put the bridge in it, which totally changed it
again. And then it just kind of.
And then subsequent a year later, I actually put the lead figure to it, and then it changed it again. So we're still in this predicament of going.
We're still in this.
Going right. How the hell are we going to pull this off alive again? Because when we played our last gig at the Malt Shovel in Ponty, October 2019.
I didn't play guitar, and I had an easy time.
That's one of them where you put your guitar down.
I put my guitar down. It's the DC rest session.
Bear in mind, I probably just played Plush, Mike Stone Temple Pilots.
Just gone through a Plush, yeah.
So my own tapping up like mad. But Alan Manglin, known as the chairman, said there were two things wrong with that gig. Don't play Everlong again because you're knackered. And right,
you need to set guitar on
DC needs to play guitar on Sunday. but
well, you just shed light on. Obviously, you've not played live for a while.
We only had. We had two gigs lined up.
We had two
2020, and one with George Fest, and
gone.
I think the other one might have been another festival.
I can't remember.
I can't remember now. I'm gonna do that thing.
I want a second one, but
yeah. So
last year seems so far away now.
It does.
So there were two gigs, but the George Fifth, we're going to play that with our good mate 03, which that would have been a complete riot if we still would have been on like we did when we played. We'd cause some damage. Oof. And a few really nasty hangovers next morning. And Justin laughing at us. I don't drink. And it had been his first week at Connor.
Yeah.
Connor, in a way, saved us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because we'd had a lot of issues with bass players. Having one, it not working out. Same happened again. And it's like, how many times we're gonna go through this? And then
got to a point where I'm going to do it.
Well, got to a point where I was going to do it.
You're going to do it.
But then I had you and Jay screaming at me like, "No, we need you on guitar." All right.
We went to a point where we're going to roll bloody, won't we?
Yeah. I'd have had a brain aneurysm trying to figure it out. But I still don't know why is this board up.
But we got there.
We got there. Yeah. I mean,
I were asking you obviously before we came on record for the second time, might I add. I don't hide things from audience.
No.
I kind of messed up to start with. Are you wanting to play something for us? It's totally up to you.
Try it. Can do it. It's been a while.
No, it's fine. Well, while you guys are gathering stuff, and then before you announce what you're going to do and stuff, I'll just send a few messages out to audience. This episode, season 1, episode 4 has been with Taxi For Pablo. Check them out on the social media links that they've got. Obviously, they'll have been coming up on the video format of the podcast, which is available on YouTube channel. Whilst I'm speaking about YouTube, the analytics have been screaming at me recently. Apparently, 72% of the viewers of the content on YouTube are not subscribed. So just to make sure you're not missing out on double sessions like what we've got going on today, hit that subscribe, hit the bell notification. It'll just send a notification to your phone, let you know that we've got a new upload. I've got another episode that's getting recorded tomorrow, which got rescheduled from last week. So yeah, just to make sure you're not missing out on any content. Make sure you check it out. Check the description of this episode on Spotify. It'll have all the links for Taxi For Pablo. And it'll have another rundown as well, letting you know the ins and outs of the band, how they got together and such. But yeah, singing us out, it'll be Taxi For Pablo. I'll pass over to DC, let him let us give us a rundown.
Right, just realised this is the first time we've done this acoustic, isn't it?
It will be, yeah. It will be.
So,
Apart from messing about.
messing about and that, but yeah, this is our what, third song?
Yeah.
Yeah,
third.
this is We've Got Nothing.
And this were a jam.
This was a jam with this one.
So there we go.
I don't know when you're gonna see it. Can't stand the way I feel it. I look around and it's you I'm not needed. Pack your bags, say goodbye or leave it. But with my mind, I know you're just a messin'. On my back, on the track, I'm stressing. Sick and tired of always second guessing. Watch you walk out the doors and blessings. Cry, baby, we got nothing left for me, and I got nothing to hide. Cry, baby, cry. Nothing left for me to walk away with goodbye. In my heart, I know it will keep beating. Going on, moving on, not pretend. Rhythm the pounds is the beat that I'm keeping. Never ever gonna stop believing. So cry, baby, bye. We got nothing left for me, and I got nothing to hide. Cry, baby, cry. Nothing left for me, and I'll be waving goodbye. Miles breath, I know you won't be stealing. Stand tall, it's my call, I'm breathing. Cry, baby, bye. We got nothing left for me, and I got nothing left. Cry, baby, cry. Nothing left for me, and I'll be waving goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Yes. Awesome work, lads. Awesome work.
Right.
Still got it. We got it. We got it.
We've got nothing. Yes, we have.
Right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 4. It's been awesome to have you, DC. It's been awesome to catch up with you, man. Frankie, always a pleasure as always, man. Thank you. Appreciate yous. Everybody else, get ready for episode 3, the rescheduled one, which is going to get recorded tomorrow. Just for clarification, as always, this episode will be getting released in 2 clips over the weekend, and full episode will be available on YouTube to watch and Spotify to listen on Monday. Yep. And as always, live life, be kind, and give back. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Cheers, mate.